Tom Izzo is standing by right now with Dave Revson out in East Lansing. Let's check in with them now. Dave?
You're on the air. Stand by. Go.
Mike, thanks. Tom, obviously this is surprising news for everyone in the college sports community. How about for you, someone who's so close to Mark Dantonio? At what point did you find out this was a possibility?
Well, as you know, it's my favorite sport still. Hasn't changed. And he's one of my favorite guys. But we've talked in the last week or so, I didn't know what he was going to do till the very end. But sad day for me, if you want the truth. Happy, it's supposed to be a celebration, all the things he's done here. But him and I have been through some wars, and we've, both been in the Final Four in the same year. It's some really cool things. And I think people are going to see all of his accomplishments have been incredible. But I think he felt for himself, his family, and where he's at right now, it was the best thing for him, and I give him credit for having the courage to do it.
In what ways do you think he's changed the perception of this football program and this university?
Well, let's face it, he had a tough year because of some injuries. He would never say that. But when you're playing in a Final Four, there's only been two Big Ten teams. A Final Four in football is a little different than a Final Four even in basketball. It's harder to get to. The consistency he had, everything he's done, I think Michigan State is on the football map now. And I'm not sure we were there. When Nick Saban was here, we were growing to that point. And then when Mark took over, it's just been, I want to say 12 out of 13 bowl games. He's done some things that get consistency. And that's my whole thing with my program. If you can get pretty consistent, that makes you special.
What made him so good as a coach?
You know what? He had a good staff. He'd be the first to tell you that. But he had a quiet toughness to him. He was a tough guy. He'd call me before every game. We'd talk. He'd be in the locker room. It was awesome. He made me a big part. He's been to my Final Fours. I've been to his. I just think that he has a discipline about him. He was a very good defensive coach, and as we all know, defense wins for you. And knew what he was doing when he was at Ohio State, knew what he was doing here when he worked for Nick. And I just think he's a gentle giant, meaning maybe not the yeller and screamer like sometimes I can be,
Really?
but he gets his point across probably better than I do. So I got to start looking at the way he did it.
You guys are such good friends. I know you're neighbors as well. For those who don't know Mark in the way you do, and I'd say there are probably very few who do, give us a sense of what makes him special off the field.
Well, he's a caring guy, he's a very religious, very straight, very caring human being. And I think his players mean the world to him. His family means the world to him. He's a very good family man, too. And, he's got a cottage over by mine on Lake Michigan and tries to spend a little time there. And I think that's one of the other things. John Beilein went through that. In college athletics right now, the way everything's going, it seems like the job never ends. You don't even get away for a break. And I just think Mark thought it was time. But, you guys know it. He's a great guy. He's an honest guy. He tells it the way it is. And I'm going to miss him. It's a sad day for me, if I was to be honest.
There's a lot of off-the-field stuff going on. How much of a factor do you think all that was on him?
Well, it hasn't been an easy couple of years around here. It really hasn't. And how much that does, I don't know. We talk about it there. What did Jed always say? The pot's always boiling. There's just different people stirring it, And it sounds so crazy, but I think there's a lot of truth to that. And this guy, he stood tall, man. He stood tall, and, I'm going to miss him most for that. He was a guy I could lean on, but I'll still be able to lean on him. He's going to be around. He's going to be part of the athletic program. I think he'll do a lot of good things still, and some of them for me now.
Well, I've got you here. You got a big game tonight against a ranked team in Penn State. What do you guys need to do to come away with the W?
Well, play better for two halves. We've played good for one half, but Pat Chambers has done a great job. He's got a team with a lot of different players. They play 9 deep. They go at it. They got some veterans. They got some young guys. They got a transfer. His team plays hard. He's a very good coach. I knew that when he came into the league, and we're going to have to play more consistent for both halves. We have not done a very good job of that, and that falls on me. So we better be ready to play when the ball gets tipped.
Coach, you're always really generous with your time. I know you got to go do some game prep. Thanks for giving us a few minutes.